C__Liv has left the room. Cliff C__Liv has left the room. fighter, Alex Muda, has left the room. Fitness fighter, Alex Muda, has left the room. Ganja Andy to 106, has left the room. Ganja Andy to 106, has left the room.
Right, straight lining it. Didn't look too bad for George, but he was tentative getting on the throttle as well, coming out there. I think new set of tyres, you do pick up a good hit of rear grip. The first thing you find when the grip level goes up is your traction gets better, and that'll help those that are not only at that corner but turn 11 as well. The left-hand hairpin's been a bit tricky.
The advantage over Russell. Remember, we will reset the times after running himself 9/10 of a second off, but in 11th. The sole remaining Haas is Ocon. It's Lindblad, Colapinto, Lawson and Carlos Sainz.
Great job from Gasly, 8th, and he's well up on Colapinto so far this weekend. That's carried on into Q2, so Franco just snuck through in here. Gasly flying ahead of the Red Bulls again. Having been ahead of them throughout the weekend in China, certainly over one lap. Anyway, fresh new softs on the Ferrari of Lewis Hamilton, so that'll be his first foray on softs, on new softs in Q2 here. So we see a wind up for George Russell. New set of softs for George as well. He's going to find Hamilton down on the out of the way on this circuit as well, because it's narrow and so twisty through here, but Lewis on the radio and having good communication to not impede George Russell.
So Russell on the radio complaining about a lack of rear grip earlier in the session. Still behind the wheel with 5 minutes to go of Q2. Currently in 6th position, Hamilton behind, then Gasly, Hadjar and Verstappen. Verstappen less than a 1/10 of a second save to Hulk.
We're on new tyres as well, Hadjar and Verstappen, so that is the pace of the car. Much like China, they are on the edge of sneaking through into the top 10. Both drivers did it in both qualifyings, but it wasn't easy, and they have to hook up a decent lap. Otherwise, you will have the likes of the Audis today. Bortoletto's laps are astonishing up there in 5th place. They are very capable of getting in amongst it, as will be potentially a Racing Bull coming through, potentially Esteban Ocon as well.
3 corners on his lap that currently puts him 1.5 seconds behind the benchmark pace. Russell going again then, and it's stacked no personal best at the end. He's 0.3 of a second away, and that was on a new tyre set.
Yeah, at this stage we can say that George is not comfortable in the car. I know we've heard it on the radio, but that's a new set of tyres, should be finding the rear grip, and he's been complaining of various issues, some aero problems at on the radio, so just feeling like an instability, especially to find the confidence to go and attack these corners. As Hamilton, you can hear when the revs pick up as the MG UK kicks in and he starts to get the full whack of the electric motor heading towards the Degners.
So Hamilton not too far away, 200ths away from Piastri's best. There are new tyres on the car. That is a monster first sector for Charles Leclerc. Out of the second Degner for the 27-time pole position holder in Formula One, currently defined by what you can put together in this session. We're just sorting out the top 10 shootout. Hulkenberg, Ocon, Lindblad, Colapinto on outlaps, and you can see Leclerc still projected to be ahead of Oscar Piastri's benchmark.
Well, we could be heading for the best lap of the weekend then if Leclerc can close this one out. Hamilton through and drops a 10th in the final sector as well. Leclerc fighting the car through the final chicane and again on the exit as well.
Saw on the way in, saw on the way out.
Well, I think we'll have a look for everything.
Yeah, he's not happy at all, George Russell. Big lap for Verstappen here, on the bubble, 10th place. Sweeps around Antonelli on his outlap, getting ready for a new tyre set in just a moment. But Max fighting a lot at the wheel as well. So Red Bull on a knife edge between understeer and oversteer. In between it is just a lack of outright grip, and that's what you're seeing here. This car does not look neat, poised. Does not look like it's a lot of fun to drive for Verstappen through that. Hanging on to it. It's a personal best, but he's 0.6 down as well.
Verstappen all over the curb at the exit of the second Degner corner. This is the rotation that his teammate is struggling with at turn 11 at the hairpin. His last 4 qualifying results around this circuit. Pole, 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 and pole again. But this is just a battle to make the top 10 shootout. Verstappen with a personal best in the first. Hulkenberg not too far away.
If either one of these Red Bulls doesn't improve, Hulkenberg will have a decent shot at usurping them for a Q3 slot. Verstappen's piecing the sectors together better.
At 2/3 of the lap, he's taking a 1/10 of a second forward, trying to find a way through now, and he does. Improve past his teammate, but it's still within touching distance for Hulkenberg and Ocon.
Yeah, that time is achievable. Hadjar gets ahead, so it's Verstappen on the bubble, and he's done his flying lap. Ocon out there trying to improve. Personal best in the first sector, and Hulkenberg's going quickly.
Strong lap for Isaac Hadjar, who out-qualified Max Verstappen by default in Australia, but could be about to do it on merit when it comes to Suzuka. Piastri is in second position. Hulkenberg's very, very close, 100th of a second away. Specialist. Gasly over the line, he improves to P6 with the fastest final sector of anyone so far. Hulkenberg hasn't been in Q3 here since 2016, and he won't be. And now Bortoleto in 8th position. What can Arvid Leto? Still P8.
Here we go with Lindblad then coming through the final couple of corners. Can he knock Max Verstappen out of Q3?
He comes across the line, he does it! The rookie driver, 18 years of age, Arvid Lindblad knocks out the 4-time champ. An almighty shock at a circuit Verstappen has made his own in the last few years. Verstappen 11th.
Lawson's on a lap as well, but he's not about to trouble the top 10. Lawson missed FP2 yesterday, missed the crucial hour of running. They had a gearbox issue in the car. He's jumped in, difficult circuit, as Antonelli drops that benchmark a quarter of a second lower in the Mercedes. See if Hamilton can find his feet in this session, half a second away. But Lindblad, that's astonishing for him to get up into Q1 of the 2 sessions yesterday.
I think something wrong with the car. Made this completely unrun. Well, suddenly it is qualifying. Jumping on high speed on the rear suddenly.
So we saw that unfold on board with Max, didn't we? In the S's there, he was hanging on to it with so much oversteer. And his miserable start to the year just gets worse.
Hulkenberg had the chance, Ocon had the chance. Verstappen had the chance, but it's Lindblad who made it through along with Isaac Hadjar. And Gabriel Bortoleto and Pierre Gasly will be delighted as well. Max Verstappen, the big shock, out in 11th position. His brilliant run at qualifying performances comes to an end. And Jolien, we spoke earlier on about the setup changes that they are just chucking at that car all the time. They have made it part of the resurgence last year, part of the 10 podium finishes consecutively at the end of the campaign, was making C changes to the car from Friday to Saturday. I don't quite understand the new regulation set in the way they did the old, and the setup changes affecting Max Verstappen adversely there. He's out.
Great job from Hadjar as well to be close to Max through the weekend, to be ahead of him when it counts in qualifying. I have to say, the Red Bull car is tricky. Hadjar coming in that dreaded second seat alongside Max, he's doing a really good job. And if this was a more competitive car, I mean, we'd be showering him with praise. He's ahead of, you know, the toughest guy out there, the most complete driver. So it's a great job from Hadjar. It's baffling to me how he was so quick in Melbourne. Qualified 3rd. I think he probably got more out of the car than plenty of others around, and surprised himself and the other teams with their performance. But yeah, Red Bull.
Max Verstappen, the big shock in the second part of qualifying. This is on board with his push lap through the S's.
Yeah, this is where you can see him juggling the wheel already coming through turn 4. Waiting.
Well, a shock for Verstappen. He's in 11th, Ocon in 12th, then Hulkenberg, Lawson, Colapinto and Sainz, the drivers eliminated in that part of qualifying. Let's get some more analysis now with Alex Brundle.
I think it'll be something to look at for Mercedes as well, guys, that session. This is the car that... though, is the driver who finds himself 6 tenths back, and that's George Russell. Most of it is in the middle sector. You heard him talk to the team over the radio. Let's have a little bit of a look at this. Looks neat and tidy through turn 1 for George Russell, using all the road through 3, 4, 5, and then all the way through these S's at the beginning of Leclerc, who was incredible in this first sector of the lap.
Computers have control.
second. Full toe from Isaac Hadjar, who's weaving to build up his lap.
It'll be the toe that's done it if there's 2000s for Antonelli. So he's now up on George Russell through 2 sectors. Just the chicane to go. How quickly can you get to throttle?
Oh, squirreling all